The following programming is sponsored by Mark J. Bernstein. The views expressed do not necessarily reflect the views of this station, its management, or Beasley Media Group. Entrepreneur, founder, author, and financial advisor Mark Bernstein helps high-performing business owners turn their visions into reality. Through his innovative work and the Forward Focus Forums, Mark connects entrepreneurs to resources that fuel their success. Founders Forum is a radio show and podcast where entrepreneurs share their journeys, revealing the lessons they've learned and the stories behind their success. Join Mark and his guests for a mix of inspiration, valuable insights, and a little fun. Now, let's dive in.
Good morning, America. How are you? It's not a sunny day in Philadelphia. You know, It's always sunny, but not today. Anyway, it's not bad, but I will tell you, I look outside and I'm looking forward to moving the show south as we did last winter to Southwest Florida.
I'd rather be there, I think, right now.
Counting the days. This is Josh you're hearing from. I'll introduce him in a minute. And our topic of the day is community. And I'm thinking about it really for two reasons. One is what happened to me this morning. I was telling Josh I was a little late to the studio because we had a dog emergency. We have a fox in the neighborhood, and we always have foxes in the neighborhood, but we have one that was very aggressive, chasing a teenage boy and their dog he was walking, who happens to be a buddy of my dog, Arlo. And he was out for blood, the fox. So either rabid or maybe protecting babies if it's a female, or who knows, but or very hungry maybe, So whatever it was, it's dangerous, and there were a number of sightings and a number of people ran into them, and hopefully they're getting animal control to help the animal out and do something. But I saw all these texts like all night they were going. It was a community coming together. And we have a nice neighborhood we live in, but I'm sure there's people of all different political beliefs and our neighborhoods like the United Nations, but everybody was united when someone's in danger. And that reminds me, Josh, of what's going on in the news today, because yesterday, I don't know when you'll be listening to this podcast, but we're a live radio show today. And yesterday, the Congress voted, or House of Representatives voted almost unanimously, all but one vote, to release the Epstein files that have been in the news lately. And I think the reason was, and it overcame politics and overcame everything, it was about community, because young women, when they were young, were sexually abused, and it's a tragedy. And I think that everyone kind of coalesced around that in the most polarized and divided of times. So community gives me hope. So, Josh, you might want to comment on.
I agree. I think, and being from Lancaster, community is so important to us. I always joke, Lancaster is 1.5 degrees separation, so you know just about everybody, whether you grew up there or moved to the area. It's just a great place to do business, and it's interesting. People really
Philly's just a kind of bigger version of that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, I mean, it definitely is. And actually, it's special this week is extra give for the Lancaster County Community Foundation, which is just an incredible day for the county. All the nonprofits in Lancaster raise money, and Lancaster Community Foundation matches those efforts. And we raised $13.4 million, I think, last year. And it's just an incredible community, regardless of political beliefs, because everyone has their own. But it's a great day where, as you mentioned, everyone can come together for incredible causes and be proud of where they're from in Lancaster.
Well, that makes me even happier about Lancaster. So Josh knows this, and we getting together had nothing to do with Lancaster. Josh was actually referred by another guest on the show, Nick Mondo, who also, I found out later, is from Lancaster.
Yeah, he's just north of Lancaster, Lebanon. Yep.
But we all met really ultimately through the Union League in Philadelphia.
Yep.
And I mentioned this on the show, and I should say this because we're going to have a number of shows coming up, including a couple we're recording later this week. I went to Deb Brandt, who runs FIG, the city magazine, which is the nicest city magazine I've ever seen.
She's amazing. Yeah.
It's really unbelievable. Incredible. And she's been on the show. And the last time that she was on the well, not when she was on the show, but Ray Lowe is another guy who moved to Lancaster from South Jersey, who was an old friend and sort of a podcast mentor of mine. And we were going to do a podcast last June, and Deb happened to be having their summer launch party for FIG, and I went. and I couldn't believe all the entrepreneurs and all the exciting things going on culturally, and great restaurants and great art galleries and all kinds of things going on in Lancaster. There was so much excitement that I decided to do a series on Lancaster entrepreneurs. So I guess this is part of the series.
By the way, I want to say for all you Lancasterians out there, you actually pronounce Lancaster correctly. So from where we're from, that means it's not Lancaster.
Right, not Lancaster.
It's Lancaster. You always put a kiss in the middle there. So
I think
kudos to you.
Most Philadelphians, I think, know that.
But okay.
I went there a lot as a kid, but it was totally different then.
I grew up there, so I agree. I mean,
it was
totally
host farm and the Amish country, at that time.
Right.
And trains.
Trains and farms.
Right, so exactly. So anyway, let me introduce you to Joshua Funk, who is president and CEO of TFB Hospitality. He is a graduate of Penn State's Pennsylvania State University, I should say, hotel, restaurant, and institutional management program. Joshua brings experience, vision, and cutting-edge strategy to TFB Hospitality's growing portfolio of properties. Previously, he spent 9 years at the prestigious National Press Club. I was pretty wowed by that in Washington, D.C., overseeing operations with total revenues of $10 million in food, beverage, audiovisual, and broadcast, along with a staff of 10 managers and more than 40 full-time and part-time union staff. This experience helped Joshua to foster a forward-thinking hospitality company that can thrive in location and concept. That's a lot. That's a lot of good stuff there.
It's a mouthful.
By the way, I just want to mention to you real quick, we had Gary Brandeis on the show, and Scholar Hotels is the name of it. He has most of the hotels in State College now.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So I don't know if you're familiar with him.
No, I haven't met Gary before, but
his name just came up a couple days ago, too. So tell me about your story. So you grew up in Lancaster.
Yeah, I grew up in Lancaster, blue-collar family. Actually, my mom was a nurse. My dad laid pavement. And, I liked science and math. Actually, I went to school to be a doctor. I took calculus, chemistry, biology, and 1,400 my SATs. And my mom was a nurse, so I said, no, I'll be a doctor. Went to Penn State.
1,400 SAT is very impressive.
Yeah, I hated it. I just didn't love it. I was good at school, but I didn't love it. And my stepmother at the time owned a small Irish pub, neighborhood pub, and it was actually a pagan bar. But I would bartend there on the weekends, and I kind of loved it. I grew up in a household of my family. I always entertained. It had people over, and then I took a class at Penn State called Intro to Hospitality Management, and the professor was a Wharton grad, and his name's James Poffley. Great guy, but it showed me that restaurants, in addition to the hospitality side, it's all just math, right? It's probabilities and percentages, and like a lot of businesses are, and but it's like chaos math, right? You have to figure out. There's like 6 different bullseyes, and you have to figure out which bullseye and throw the dart where it's going to be.
We also had Matt Wampler on the show, and I think I mentioned to him.
Yeah, I think so.
Who he is. Yeah, that's what he does. Data analytics.
It's crazy. So I'm a math nerd that runs restaurants, right? Yeah. I'm an introvert that plays an extrovert on TV. If that makes any sense.
Right. So I've already learned that. I've already figured that out about you. By the way.
Yeah. No. It's fun though, and I enjoy it. It keeps my mind active, and I love the people. We have an amazing group of individuals that work with us every day. But I graduated and went to the National Press Club, met my mentor there, Bill McCarran, who really kind of helped teach me a lot about the nuts and bolts of business. He ran U.S. Newswire for a long time in Washington, D.C. and sold it with his brother, a family business. And I just learned a tremendous amount about how to be an entrepreneur, and really thankful for his friendship and his mentorship, which was great. And, was actually with some friends out on a boat July 4th down in D.C. in the Georgetown Harbor, and they all had these elaborate plans to go to back to Lancaster. And I was like, why would you want to go back to Lancaster at that time? It was a long time ago. But I didn't really know all the things that were going on back in my hometown, and researched buying a restaurant in Lancaster. And that's how I found Andy Bailey's for sale, and pursued it in 2012, and actually bought the business right after I got married. So I was going through the process of buying a business and getting married all at the same time, which is interesting and fun.
And how was your wife feeling about that?
So it's funny. I told her that I was buying a bar in Lancaster, and she's like, "I'm sorry, I thought you said Lancaster." And I said, "You're right." And then she's like, "Well, I'm not moving back to Lancaster for any restaurant other than Andy Bailey's." I was like, "Well, you're in luck."
That's wild.
Yeah. So that's how it started, and really kind of went into hyperdrive after that. Bought Andy Bailey's in August of 2013. Went into the studio at Rock Lidditz in October of 2014. Sean Clare, who was a third-generation Clare from Clare Brothers, was a fraternity brother of mine, also grew up in Lidditz. I introduced him to his wife, at school. And he told me after I moved back to Lancaster, hey, by the way, we bought 96 acres in the north of Lidditz, and there's going to be a restaurant and other things, and I think we should talk. And that's kind of how it started, which I never even dreamed what Rock Lidditz would be and is today, which is incredible. But it just goes to show there's interesting opportunities.
I know what that is. I'm not sure if all our listeners know. So explain Rock Lidditz.
So Rock Lidditz is one of the preeminent, live event industry campuses in the world. And
I think, as far as I've heard, it is the
and I'm a modest person, but it's really spearheaded by Troy Clare and Adam Davis. Troy is the CEO of Clare Global, and Adam Davis, CEO of Tate. And they're wonderful visionaries and incredible human beings that I'm really blessed to know and have learned from. But it's a location where the biggest companies in the live event industry come together and support the biggest tours in the world. And it's where a lot of those tours rehearse.
Whenever I hear about it, you made a list of some of those when we talked before, but Lady Gaga always seems to be the first one mentioned.
Well, I can neither confirm or deny anything that that goes on there.
Right.
So, but
is that right? That's not public information.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of tours that come through there, but we just make a habit not to make
makes sense.
Yeah, but yeah. So in 2014 we opened the studio. Then soon after they built the first office building, so we had a small kind of lunch counterette in there in 2017. 2018, we built another lunch counterette for another local business. And then 2018, we started our TFB catering, which is catering in the hotel. The Hotel Rock Lidditz was built, and Per Diem was our next restaurant that was built in that time frame, about a 100-seat restaurant in the Hotel Rock Lidditz.
I have to just interrupt for 1 second again. So, again, I'm doing some podcasts in Lancaster on Friday. Today's Wednesday. Tomorrow is the FIG 20th anniversary, and you're catering that event.
Yes.
TFB,
Yep.
right?
Yeah. So, and that catering just kind of was like an offshoot of the restaurant at that time. I really didn't have a catering company other than the studio at Rock Lidditz. And then 2019 we opened Conway, which is an offshoot of Annie's, a small little speakeasy that sits above Andy Bailey's in downtown Lancaster. And then in 2021 we really kind of launched our offsite catering business that has really grown to doing corporate wedding, social, and really large events. We have a 1,400-person conference coming in December, and we did the inaugural ball of Governor Shapiro back in 2021 now, 2022. And then in 2022, we had our first opportunity to go basically what we call out on tour, and we did a concert at Hershey Stadium for Lady Gaga. And now we are kind of the caterer of record for Live Nation in the Philadelphia area. So we do Citizens Bank Park, Lincoln Financial, all the Hershey stadiums. We've done AC.
Boardwalk Hall.
And we're going to get our first opportunity to do a New York show in December 23rd at the Barclays Center. So we're really excited about that growth.
I've got a number of questions to ask you about this, but we're just about at break time. So I'm thinking we might take a quick commercial break, and then we'll come right back. I want to ask you about, because I know entrepreneurship is always a smooth ride, right, Josh? So I want to ask you about some of the challenges you've had and how you've met those challenges and lessons learned. So
Sure.
We'll be back right after the break.
Great.
The Sattel Institute is the leading CEO member organization dedicated to corporate social responsibility. Under the vision and leadership of its founder, entrepreneur and philanthropist Ed Sattel, the Institute brings together CEOs in Philadelphia and other cities to support the nonprofit organizations that do heroic work in our communities. The Sattel Institute believes that community is every leader's business. SI's members-only meetings and private CEO conferences give members the opportunity to hear from world-class thought leaders on crucial topics like AI, education, corporate philanthropy, and more. In addition, CEO members get the opportunity to share ideas and experience with their peers, like-minded CEOs who believe in the importance of giving back to the community and who understand the benefits companies get from embracing corporate social responsibility. The Sattel Institute charges no dues or fees. In order to join, member companies simply make a long-term commitment to the nonprofit of their choice. To find out more about membership and why so many leading companies are now part of the Sattel Institute, visit the organization's website at sattelinstitute.org. Sattel, S-A-T-E-L-L, institute.org. As Ed Sattel says, think we, not just me.
We're back on Founders Forum with my guest today, Joshua Funk of TFB Hospitality. And Josh, so we're talking about entrepreneurship not necessarily being a smooth ride. Tell us about some of the challenges that you had as you're growing these various areas of your business.
Yeah, no, obviously my first business I purchased, it was a successful business. I just, focused on growing it. Then we went to the studio. Really, the first road bump or kind of like roadblock I had was gravy. The lunch counter business is not a very profitable business. The corporate lunch business is more what I would call subsidized than it is a for-profit entity. And I didn't know that, and I kind of built two at the same time, and really was looking to build my second restaurant as well. And I learned a lesson of growing too fast, and cash needed to do that, especially in restaurants, is at a premium. And so I really learned that cash is king, and ensuring that I take the opportunities that are afforded to me and really weigh them as to what is right for the future growth of the company, rather than just be grabbing at every opportunity that comes along.
So when cash gets tough, that puts a lot of people out of business, obviously.
Right.
So
especially right now.
So right. So how did you manage through that? So
it's interesting. I got a kind of a lifeline from a friend that lended me some money. Oh, nice. But then I also started. That's kind of where we started the TFB catering a little bit. So I started out because that was my background in DC. Mm-hmm. So we started doing more events in Pod 2, which is where gravy was, to help drive revenue. And then actually we had a client that came into the studio that was that at that time was not planned, that really kind of helped us from a cash perspective. And then I learned my lesson pretty early in my career, which was great. And from there, I kind of knew that I always going to keep an eye on cash and things that we were doing. And I've paid that person back, thank goodness. And but yeah, it's always good to have friends, and you always need an out, so to speak.
So that was one lesson. Another obstacle I know you had was COVID and the pandemic, right? Yeah. So that was a different type of obstacle.
Very different type of obstacle. We were humming along at that time. I had just opened 7 restaurants in 6 years, and had just opened Conway 4 months before the shutdown. And, it was hard. We shut down the day before St. Patty's Day. That's $100,000 day for us, almost.
And Annie Bailey's of all places. Right?
So, but really, my brother's one of my business partners. We kind of researched what was going on in China, actually, because they were ahead of us by a few months, and kind of started to take some protocols, and really was just staying on top of where the money was flowing. And, we did pretty well with that kind of stuff. The one area where we really made a big mistake was the Restaurant Revitalization Fund. I was on top of it, did the application, and made one error in my application. And
heard that story a few times.
Yeah, it was a $1.9 million error. So, yeah. So That one stings, but hey, a lot of restaurants got what they needed, and we're fine. But it would have been nice.
How did you navigate though? Because people weren't coming into the restaurant at that point.
Yeah, so a lot of people were thinking about staying open, and we kind of decided we were never a to-go place for any of our locations. Right. It didn't make sense. We weren't really set up for that. So we decided to just shut it down. We let our team go a little early the day before. We decided for the health and safety of everyone, we were going to close before St. Patty's Day and before it was mandated. And then from that, we kept 8 key staff members, and we met, on a biweekly basis, and just talked about, hey, what is everybody hearing? What are you researching? Things like that, and trying to stay ahead of things. And we kind of timed it right, whether it was a grant or PPP, and we closed kind of before we knew everything was going. Talking to our senators, talking to our local representatives, and trying to really stay ahead of what was happening. And we did that, and I think we did that very well. And we came out of COVID just incredibly, almost stronger than we did when we went in.
Nice. So through that, and through, obviously you've built several other business divisions since then. What kind of lessons have you learned besides cash is king and how to pivot, which is what you did?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, the big thing is coming out of COVID, we were still kind of a mom and pop place, right? Yeah, we had 5 or 6 locations, but I was able to run everything myself, and decisions were running through me. And in 2022, when touring started happening and the studio really kind of took off as a mature business, per diem took off as a mature business, because really in 2022, Annie's was 60-some% of our business. Last year, even this year, it's about 21%. We went from 5.6 million in 2022 to just over 12 last year.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So I've kind of learned that you can't do it all.
Right.
And finding the right people and putting them in the right places, and creating systems that aren't necessarily good for me, but good for the organization helps the long-term viability of the organization.
When we first talked, you talked about taking yourself out of the equation, which I think is great. Many business owners never learn that, because as long as you're not building value in a company, if you're integral to it,
right?
You're building it, but you're putting basically a cap on its value.
Yeah, actually, my mentor, after I bought Andy Bailey's, and I went back and had a quick meeting with him. The first thing he asked me was, "What is your exit plan?" And I thought he had like 7 heads, right? Right. But it didn't really dawn on me until recently, when we scaled beyond my abilities to run the business, that I knew exactly what he was talking about now.
Well, I'm a financial planner for entrepreneurs. That's what we do.
Yeah.
And I get that look a lot. So, what's your exit strategy? What are you talking about?
Right.
But it's never too early to start thinking about that, because it dictates, as you've seen, how you're going to build the business.
100%.
And I also know you're focused on putting the right people in the right roles. I call that unique ability, finding people's unique ability. And
absolutely.
Yeah. So tell me about your future vision. I know you're not going to stop growing.
Yeah.
And let's say we're in November now of 2025, and if this were November of 2035, and you and I are talking, as I hope we will be.
Yeah.
And you're talking about what would have had to happen over that 10 years for you to tell me, hey, you know what, Mark, this was a very successful 10 years for me, and here's why.
So we recently engaged with EOS, the Entrepreneurial Operating System, and we had to go through that process, and really great process. But I was trying to figure out what that vision looks like. And for us, we know that each person that we provide food and beverage to or service to it's a memory, right? Like, they're creating memory. They're coming to celebrate a memory. They're creating memory, and we have the opportunity to create an experience for them, which will impact their memory, right? Hopefully, and the hopes is that does. So for success for us and for our organization going forward, we want to create 5 million memories in 10 years. Mm. So if we've created 5 million memories in 10 years, we know that we've done something right. And whether that's, in the restaurant space, in the catering space, touring space, I would have never predicted, in August of 2013, where I am today, right? So I think it's hard for me to predict out where I'm going to be in 10 years, but I know I'm a serial entrepreneur, and I've got a few things that I'm thinking about now, whether, it might be real estate. And as I get older, I know that restaurants is not a young man's game. So thinking about really kind of probably expanding on the catering side. Next year is the World Cup, so it might be a down touring year a little bit, but our goal is to put a team on the road with a tour in 2027. And in 2026, we're hoping to expand down into...
With a music tour, you're
Yep,
doing.
yes, with a music tour. We had our first opportunity last year. I'm glad we didn't take it. We were not ready. But yeah, so...
I love your vision because we ask everybody their future vision, and you get to pick. Most people pick 1 year or 3 year, and the reason is 10 years is like the way things are changing so rapidly. It's almost impossible.
Right.
But therefore, you just have a big vision.
Yeah.
And you're not sure how you're going to fulfill on that. 5 million memories is a great vision.
Yeah, so we track it every week. Every week we track how many covers and how many memories we made, and that's something we're actively trying to get.
Can you say where you are now?
So right now, I have to look at the total. We just tracked the actual, but I think since we started 2.5 years ago, I think we're right in the 1 million mark.
1 million. So you're on your way. That should be easy.
We'll see. We'll see.
So anyway, that is one of the best visions I've ever heard anyone give, because all the details get filled in because you have all the right people in place,
right?
And you're the visionary,
and it's something that our entire organization can latch onto. It's not a dollar or it's memories. We create memories. Every person in our organization create memories every day.
Josh, I know you're a reader. What are your favorite books to read?
I like actually business nonfiction. One of my favorite books is How to Become CEO of Any Organization. It's like a light reader. And I think it was Stanley Druckenmiller is the author. But it's like 100 or 200 some pages. And as a young person trying to figure out how to navigate what a CEO is and how to be in charge of people, right? It's a great. I have given out to a couple different people.
That's great.
And I think that it's just a simple book to absorb, whether you are a Fortune 100 CEO or just starting your own business, because it's important to understand what that means.
That's great. Any other books that come to mind?
Traction with EOS. Right. I think that was a eye-opening book for me, and I think for anybody who is growing their business, understanding those principles is just incredibly important.
It's by Gino Wickman for our listeners.
Yeah.
Last, real quick, we only have about a half a minute. If you were speaking to your younger self, what advice would you give you?
Don't keep working hard. There's no substitute for hard work. And take care of your people. We're a huge people organization, and people are the most important thing in any organization. So.
And cash is king.
And cash is king. Yeah, the trifecta right there.
So on that note, I think we're just about finished, and we thank you all for listening. Thank you for being here, Josh.
Thank you so much, Mark.
Thank you to our listeners, and we'll talk to you next week on Founders Forum.
We hope you enjoyed your time with Founders Forum and that you found value to take with you throughout your day. Join us again next week for another episode of Founders Forum on WXKB 1039 HD2.